What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 26 of Beyond the Finish Line, a trail running podcast that dives deep into the stories that transcend far beyond the distance. I am your host, Joe Hardin. I am a passionate trail runner myself. Whether you're an elite, a back of the pack grinder, or somewhere in between, this is your space to learn, grow, and get inspired. So lace up, lean in, let's go beyond the finish line. Today, I am thrilled, super excited to sit down with my good friend, Doug Fingliss. Doug is a lot of things, but Doug's an author, an ultra runner, co-host with yours truly of the Recovery Roadrunners podcast. He's also a huge part of the Recovery Roadrunners organization, which is doing phenomenal things for runners in recovery. Doug's a documentarian, and we'll get to that during this podcast. He is a sober warrior, many more things. But on that note, Doug is someone that I consider a dear friend, a confidant, a guru, if you will. He's someone that I've looked up to for many years now in my own sobriety journey. And before we bring Doug on, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Friends of the pod, your support means the world to me and everyone at the EAPN. So please do us a huge solid, like, share, subscribe. If you enjoy our work, throw us a 5-star review, a comment on Spotify. The Everyday Athlete Podcast Network has 8 other great shows, and we have a diverse range of content. We have something for everybody, for all distance. We have, men's mental health. We have a space for women of color in endurance sports. We have something for everybody. So now, without further ado, let's go beyond the finish line with my friend, Doug.
Hey.
What is up, Doug?
What's going on?
We've been, obviously, not much. It's a long time coming. I can't believe it took me this long. It took me 26 episodes to get my friend Doug on. So we've hosted together. So it's kind of cool. We hosted together on the Recovery Roadrunners pod. So it's kind of cool to have you on my show finally.
Well, thank you for having me. That's okay. Episode 26 is cool. 26 miles in a marathon, right? So,
dude, I didn't even think about that. So cool. I'm really excited. It's not only is it a chance to sit down with my friend Doug, but it's a chance for everyone that may tune into my show to get to know you. Because I could go on and on for days about how awesome you are, but dude, you're just you're a phenomenal human and someone that I think is very interesting. And I'm so glad that our paths crossed. I was trying to think today, actually, how we met, and I feel like it was the Tuesday. So Recovery Roadrunners had a Tuesday night group, and I don't know. I think we hit it off like first meeting I went to. I think we started talking. It feels like we've been lifelong friends, and I know it's only been a few years, but maybe that just shows you like the quality of a good friendship, I guess. But
oh man, yeah, that it was definitely that Tuesday Zoom meeting, and a couple of those were a little bit slim, and I think you and I were chatting away, and know each other, I hear you tell your story, I tell mine, and there are just so many similarities. And I think that's why we sort of vibe together, which is great. And thank you for that amazing introduction, by the way. It's crazy to reflect on you calling me all those things. There's a period of my life where I wasn't much of anything. So that's thank you. That made me feel really good, Joe.
Yeah, and of course I couldn't do justice to all the things that you do. So how does it feel to do you still struggle with hearing those things? It's wow, but you are those things, how does that feel to hear?
Yeah, I don't know if imposter syndrome ever goes away. I've been able to come to a point where I can accept a lot of the things that I've done and that I do now. I can call myself an artist, a runner, but it wasn't always that way. The biggest area where I suffer from it now is really just in my business. And even there, I find out I'm more capable than I realize. So it's all about, controlling those thoughts in your head, those crazy thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that might be listening, I kind of want to give you some space, Doug. Obviously I know you really well. We recently spent a long time together running
Yeah.
side by side, and we're definitely got to get into Rhode Island and the next silly project that we're working on. But I was wanting you to, if you could, introduce yourself. Tell us who Doug is.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Doug Fingliss. Um, yeah, where do I go from there? With there's been so many periods in my life of different things that come after that. I mean, I can say now I'm a recovered alcoholic. I've been sober for over 9 years now, which is an absolutely insane thing for me to be able to say. Because there were those days in my life I couldn't go minutes without a drink. Yeah, alcoholism was a horrible thing to go through, but it was also something that helped, define periods of my life and help me grow as a human being. And if I didn't have those lows, I would have never gotten to where I am today. Yeah, I started drinking when I was a teenager, like a lot of people did. It wasn't until years later, after I got sober, going through therapy and getting into meditation, where I realized some of the reasons that went into my drinking. And some of that goes back to, and I always think it's important to talk about this, as awkward as it is, but some sexual abuse that I endured as a child from a priest, which was horrific. It was something I never faced in my life, something that I couldn't talk about. And I still struggle with that, but I've come to a place where I can talk about it. Let's put it that way. And actually, you and I, Joe, we were walk running through part of Massachusetts on our way across Rhode Island, and we went by that church and that Catholic school. And I told you about my attempt to forgive that man, and that was crazy moment. So yeah, a good portion of my life I drank. I didn't know why I drank. Initially it took away all the inhibitions I had. It slowed down all of my anxiety and the crazy thoughts in my head. And I thought that alcohol gave me power. I thought I needed it to live. And it became pretty much my whole identity. I drank and I was a skateboarder. And then the alcohol sort of flipped and it started to take from me. And that happened very early. I was always a really smart person. And I squandered a full scholarship to my first attempt at college. And I realized now it was the alcoholism that was kicking in, and my health slowly started to decline over the years. And I remember the first year after I got out of high school, I put on like 100 pounds. I beefed up to about 250 pounds. And then just continued to grow and grow. And at the end of my drinking career, the last weigh-in I did with a doctor, I was like 331 pounds. And then, they were starting to tell me I had liver problems. So I avoided doctors, that was my strategy then. Eventually all of that horribleness culminated in 2015. I had gone through a divorce a few years earlier. I was living in an apartment by myself over in Fall River, Massachusetts. And my life was miserable. I was barely holding down a job when I would show up. I was, drinking from morning until night, drinking at work, drinking while I was driving. It didn't matter. I just needed it, passing out on the floor, waking up with a pile of throw up next to me. And for a period too, that last year, got into some pain pills, the oxycodones, and that's a slippery slope, man. And didn't want to live anymore. So Thanksgiving weekend in 2015, I got a bunch of pills and a bunch of vodka, and I tried to take my own life. And something happened where I ended up calling 911 and got brought into the hospital. At that point in my life, I was so huge I had been having problems putting like my shoes on. I had a condition called ascites where my body was filling up with fluid and I was swollen just everywhere. It was painful to bend my knees. Fluid had gotten into my lungs. Like I couldn't catch my breath just sitting or standing still. And in the ambulance, they had to have me like propped up. They couldn't lay me all the way down. And I was a little bit of a spectacle in the emergency room. The ER doctor, I remember, was pointing out spider veins that were on my shoulders and these marks on my stomach that I had always thought were stretch marks from being fat. They were actually liver marks. And I did the whole thing in the hospital at that point. Went through the DTs. They had me on a lot of IV Ativan. And my whole life, had just crashed around me. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to stop. And I moved back in with my parents at 37 or 38 years old. I was on an oxygen machine when I first was at their house and was just completely lost, Joe. Just completely lost. Like, how did I get here? How did my life get here? And I was really afraid. And that fear kept me sober for a little while. And, it was a few months I got off that oxygen machine. I wasn't drinking and I was eating a little better. So I had lost a little bit of weight. And eventually I had begged to keep the job that I had as well, which I still work at today a lot more successfully along with my business. So there was this one day, my parents had been the ones who were driving me to and from work, and they started to trust me a little bit again. And my mom let me take her car and ended up at the liquor store again. And it set forth a week of craziness. The worst thing that happened, work, nobody knew. I didn't die. I didn't get in trouble. So the next day it was a little more. Next day it was a little more until I come back to my parents' house. I remember it was a snowy night too, drinking and driving in the snow, like hours after I finished work. And my folks didn't know what to do with me. And they brought me into the hospital emergency room because I was lying to them. I was like, I didn't have anything to drink today. It must be these anxiety pills that they have me taking, full well knowing I'm a liar. They did a blood alcohol test on me in the emergency room. And this was my moment of clarity, me arguing with an ER doctor that they must have done something wrong because I didn't have anything to drink that day. And I remember on the ride back, I told the truth to my parents, and we got back to their house and I had a complete and utter breakdown on their couch, just bawling my eyes out. I haven't had a moment like this since. And I'm actually kind of seeking a moment like this now, maybe not as intense as that was, but I'm really trying to connect with my emotions because that's been a whole other issue with me. Just, I don't want to do this anymore, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stop. And I had been very inauthentically seeing a therapist, lying to that therapist. And my parents spoke to that therapist who was like, well, I've been telling him he needs to get into Alcoholics Anonymous. And of course, I didn't share that with anybody. And the next day or a couple days later, I went into my first meeting. And that's something that worked for me. There are a lot of different paths to sobriety. I'm not gonna knock any of them. There are some people who really like AA, and there's some people who don't. It worked for me at that time. I embraced that program. I found myself a sponsor fairly quickly, and I started to work those 12 steps. And that's truly when my life started to change. I remember getting to my fifth step, which is where you share your story with another human being. And I very purposely did it with a Catholic priest. And I took Catholic confession, which is not something, listen, I'm not a religious person for many obvious reasons, but it seemed like the right thing to do at the time. And let me tell you, Joe, I came out of that feeling like a different person. I felt like I had lost 1,000 pounds of emotional weight, man. And I get a little choked up talking about it now. It was a moment. And I've never looked back since then. And I kept doing those steps with my sponsor. and just started to live an entirely different life. Over the course of that year that I did those steps, I had been trying to watch my diet. I started to walk a lot, and I lost like 100 pounds just through walking and diet. And that, man, initially, because I had been like some of those initial walks, I had to take like a little oxygen tank on a little cart with me, and I was going like barely up the street my parents lived on and back. Where towards the end of that year, I was doing hours and hours of walking. It was a great way to clear my head too, and just to get out of my parents' house. I love them, but there's definitely stuff there from my childhood, it was on one of those walks. This was sometime towards the end of 2016. Have no idea where the thought came from. I had never been a runner in my life. I know that I cheated at the mile run we had to do in high school. We were supposed to do these laps around the parking lot. I know I skipped one of them. But the idea came like, geez, I wonder if I can run from like this telephone pole to that telephone pole. And I did. And I was like completely out of breath, and it was hard. And I started to mix that into my walks, and I found just there was something about running that like fixed me. Like all there, and I got all of this like clarity in my head, and I realized like that's what I had been seeking all the time when I had been drinking, just like peace of mind, man. And I now I've been chasing that ever since, which has been its own fun journey over these years between injuries and surgeries and putting weight back on and taking it off and yada yada yada. So it's been awesome, man. It's been awesome.
Hell yeah. When I've obviously I've heard your story before, and every time I hear it, it's like I think that's why we connect so well. There's so many things with your journey that like I just it's just like it's like wild, the parallels that both of our sobriety journeys have taken. And I don't know where I'm going with that other than just Doug, that's, as always, your testimony is powerful, and if anything, it hits harder every time I hear it. Like something that you say hits different each time I've heard your sobriety story, whether it be in like a meeting or while we were running or today. So 9 years, dude.
I know.
So yeah, I'm just like, so that just happened too. So I just want to say congrats. I know I said that, in a private message before, but congrats. 9 years is huge.
Thank you. You.
And that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
Let me show this off. You made me this wonderful token, if anyone can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool. I was really stoked and really proud to make that for you, man. And shout out to Recovery Roadrunners too. That's what connected us, and that's a big deal. So
we'll be bringing that podcast back sometime in May.
Heck yeah.
I can't wait.
That podcast is, if anything, that podcast has become my meeting. I don't hit the meetings as much as I used to. I need to, but that podcast has certainly satisfied that like itch, like to kind of get to a meeting. So it'd be cool to revive that.
Yeah. So, we're definitely going to. And similarly here, like I don't get to anywhere near as many meetings as I used to. It's like a different purpose if I go to those now, where listen, I'm not like perfect or like completely fixed as a human being or anything, but like I go there to try to help other people now, or like when friends have anniversaries. And I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I'll never put it down, but I have heard it said before, and I tend to agree that like if you don't eventually sort of outgrow that, you're doing something wrong in your sobriety. And, for me, that's like making sure I spread the message and finding other ways to help, not just other alcoholics, but just help others. That's like just the strong message I'm trying to go with. And I haven't quite figured out the best way to do that, but I try. Man.
Yeah, same here. I feel like it's not an obligation as much as it's like a calling now where I feel like I need to like kind of pay, like same as you. I'm not fixed by any means. Like
Yeah.
I've said this, I've written this, I've chanted it in my head, but sobriety is an ultra marathon. It's not a sprint. I've had bad days as recent as this week where I was just like, dude, that's not who you are. Like you need to like, it's time to hone this in. So like you said, I'm not fixed. I'm always working on myself, but I like to kind of like, now it's like kind of like a pay it forward mission versus like, going to a meeting and like going through the steps, like, I've done, but, so yeah, absolutely. So something that you touched on in the end of your testimony is running. Cause I think we have to talk running. Me and Doug, if we're talking, we can't not talk running. So, I was hoping that you could do us a huge favor and run us through your running journey. Cause we've got some big goals. You've got some big goals that you've crushed already. We got some lofty goals coming up too, but we'll touch on that later. But if you could, Doug, just give us rundown of like your running journey, because to me it's inspiring, and I know this will connect with somebody. So let's run through Doug's now ultra running journey, man. That's what we can call it that now. How cool is that?
Yeah. I never thought I'd land there. I didn't even know that was a thing, really. But yeah, I was totally green when I started running. Like I didn't have any friends who ran. And so much of my early running journey has just been me in my own head. So like a typical alcoholic, that first year, I started running towards the end of 2016. I think I ran my first mile in like December or something like that. And just fell in love with it. And it was like, well, I guess I should sign up for something and just see what this is. So I signed up for a 5K, which just seemed like the biggest goal in the world at the time. It was like, I've never run 3 miles. That's so far. And I did my first 5K, I believe it was in April 2017. It was the Newport Night Run in Newport, Rhode Island. And oh my God, I fell in love with runs. Like just the atmosphere at the start of and it's different at every run, but like, just all the people. And like, I had like a little level of anxiety, like, can I do this? I've never done this before. And then got it in my head, well, there's gotta be more, right? Like more is better. So I remember I skipped a 10K and I signed up for a 10 miler, the Newport 10 miler in Newport, Rhode Island. And it was like, wow, 10 miles. That's like, nobody runs that far. That's crazy. And I successfully did that. And then it's like, well, I've heard about these marathon things. Like, I guess I should sign up for a marathon. I don't even know if I realized that half marathons were like a thing at that time. So I signed up, and this is funny. Now that I'm saying this back, they're all in Newport. I signed up for the Newport Marathon in Newport, Rhode Island, cool. Which was in October 2017. And I went and I successfully did that. And like I said, I knew nothing about running. I went like all my training, I didn't hydrate. I wasn't taking gels. I didn't know anything about nutrition. I was just eating the way that I normally ate. And I went and did that one, and I didn't take a sip of water or Gatorade or electrolytes or wow. anything until around mile 22 when I hit a wall, like hugely. No gels. I think I might've had like a little breakfast that morning, and then like I tanked down some Gatorades at one of the aid stations, and it was like a crawl to that finish line. But I just walked a little bit and then walked and jogged. And I got to the end, and I tell people about this experience, and this is why I think continuously working on yourself is so important. Like I got to that finish line, and all these people I had spoken to told me like, you're going to be so proud of yourself. It's such an emotional experience. And I felt nothing, Joe. I felt disappointed in myself that I couldn't run the whole thing, that I had to stop, that I had hit a wall. I had wanted to go in, and I had it in my head that I could run under 4 hours. And like, I kept a pace where I might've been able to do that until I hit the wall, And I think, I don't know if I realized it right then, but not too long after, or maybe talking with my sponsor, I realized like, holy crap, there's like a lot more work that I need to do on myself, and that led me down a whole other road of finding my therapist, who you met. We went and did a sound meditation with Linda. That was awesome. Listeners, I got to introduce Joe to sound meditation with gongs and crystal bowls, and I love anyone who comes to visit me. I have to take them there.
Dude, I think I was honest with you afterwards, but I don't mean to step on where we're going with the conversation, but
no, go with it.
I had obviously I had reservations in the car on the way there, and just this, to me, this doesn't sound like it's just like crystals or something like that. And, now I feel bad for thinking that way, but as soon as we pull up in the driveway, it's you know what? Every time I feel I have a reservation about a preconceived way I think something's going to go, I'm always wrong. So when me and you park the car and we're walking to the door, it's I'm going to erase all my thoughts about how I think this is going to go. I'm just going to be an open slate. Man, that sound meditation did something to me. It was wild. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I had some great profound moment, but it certainly it made me rethink everything that I'm going to go back and do sound meditation, because it did something. It definitely awoken something in me. And like I said, it was a wild journey I reached a point, I think I told you this on a run, but I reached a point where I was I couldn't tell if I was asleep or awake, and I had a wave of panic, but this almost like a weight lifted off my chest, the next moment. It was wild. So yeah. I just want to say that to anybody listening, give it a go and just forget what you think it might be and just let it do what it's going to do. I don't know how better to say that, but I'm glad I went in with an open mind, because it really did something for me. So.
Yeah. No, I love it. I'm big into meditation of all kinds now, quiet, silent meditation, guided meditations, but sound meditations were the first ones that worked for me, because they just did something to quiet my head. There was something else to concentrate on other than my own thoughts. Yeah. And actually, you just reminded me, right around this whole time in 2017, I had met a friend of mine, Pete, who unfortunately I don't see anymore. And actually, he lives really close to me, a few streets over. But he and his wife had some children, and just they're in different phases of their life. But he's the one who introduced me to sound meditation. They had moved out here from California, and he had all of the stuff. And he was in between jobs, and I helped him early on carry all of his stuff. And he was just putting on sound meditations at some local places. So, I have to thank him. Thanks, Pete, for introducing me to sound meditation, because that was definitely a life-changing thing for me. My thought thread there was, I got into working on myself, and I found a really good therapist. And she was someone I had known from my drinking days. I had owned a business a while ago, just sort of a local IT business for small businesses and consumers. And I had done some work at her house, and I had been in that barn, and I had no concept of what was going on there. I used to drink during work all the time then too. And I ran into her somewhere and got to talking to her, and I had been into those other sound meditations, and we talked, and she's a licensed mental health counselor. And I said, could we maybe start talking and do some sound meditation too? So that's what we do now. We'll chat for, 40, 45 minutes, set an intention, and then do a sound meditation. And it's been life-changing. I just scheduled with her for next Friday, because it's been a wild couple of months here for me too, Joe. I've had a lot of days lately where I feel like I haven't stopped at all. And I'm go, do. And at the end of the day, I'm just what did I accomplish? What did I even get done today? Today was one of those days. I digress. Then there was more years with the running journey. There's more years of running, and I signed up for a bunch of different runs, and I set myself different goals. I remember I was trying to chase doing the New England 10-miler series for a few years, which is a run in Portland, Maine, Newport, Rhode Island, and then Stowe, Vermont. And there were just different mishaps over the years. Like there was a freak storm one year and the Stowe race got canceled. There was one year I was trail running in Vermont by my friends, and my ankle dropped in a hole. This was in the fall, so there were leaves all on the ground, and I rolled my ankle, and the thing got swollen, three times the size it should, and all black and blue. So I couldn't finish it that year. So that became a running joke for me for about 4 years, where I was like, I'm going to finish this 10-miler series, and I eventually did. And over those years, I've had it's been a roller coaster. I got back up to around 240 pounds again at one point, and really had to embrace, that it's okay to ask for help. That's something that I've had to learn in life. So, a few years back, I had reached out and I started working with a nutritionist who really helped me start to change my relationship with food. I still have not the best relationship with food, and that evidenced itself in the past year or so. And I actually just reached out to the sports nutritionist who I had worked with when I felt like I got in my best running shape. And I'm going to start working with her in May again, just because there's some stuff going on with my parents. I know I had shared with you on our Rhode Island journey. They're aging. My mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia. Even since you were here, Joe, my dad has been getting more and more confused. I think something's going on with him, and it's been tough. And I've been turning to sugar. I have just been pounding candy like crazy. I have, I'm not gonna lie, I have some next to me right now. These Nerds gummy clusters. Those things are evil. They're so good. They're evil.
So good.
Yeah.
So
and but I don't give up, and I'm continuing to try to do the things that I need to do to be healthy and to have the type of running, fitness that I want to have. So a few years ago, I got it in my head that, hey, maybe I could qualify for the Boston Marathon. I had been, watching my diet really closely. I started to work with Amber and Vinny as my run coaches. My beautiful wife, Erin, for my birthday one year said, I'm going to hire you some running coaches. That's going to be your gift. Because her sister, my sister-in-law, Megan, is an incredible runner. She just ran Boston this past weekend. We went up and we watched her, and dude, cool. Boston's a whole vibe. I'm going to run it one day. And I know I could probably get in for charity or something, but the goal for me is to qualify. So I tried really hard for that last year. And at the start of 2024, I thought I was in probably the best running shape of my life. And I went down to a marathon in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I didn't scope out the course properly beforehand. And it was like a 5K, a half marathon, and a marathon all on the same course. And it was like an out and back. And there was a turnaround for the half marathon, but the marathoners were supposed to keep going. And I was just kind of zoned out, and I didn't turn at the right spot. And also the course didn't have markers every mile. It was scattered. So I didn't realize I had made the wrong turn until I had gone out, back, and then out again. And I'm like, hang on, my watch says I'm at mile 18, and that one says I'm at mile 20. And I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't good. So I had to take a DNF at that one. And then I posted some really great half marathon times. I got down to a 140 half marathon, which for me, that's incredibly fast. And then, life hits you. Actually, at one of those half marathons, I started to get a pain in my stomach, and that harkens back to my drinking and heavy days. I had an umbilical hernia, and something got tweaked, and I needed to get surgery. So in the middle of my mission to qualify for Boston last year, I had to have abdominal surgery. And then I started to have knee problems. They thought I had a torn meniscus at first, and I had to go through all the x-rays and MRIs and all that. And it turns out it's just sort of this flare up of a childhood disease, Osgood-Schlatter's disease, where there's an extra bony part that rubs on my patella tendon. So, since then I've spent months rehabbing my knee. Now that I found the right rehab exercises, there's a different brace that I use now. But this was all in the middle of last year, and I know you're going to get into it, but I started like my most ambitious art project ever. I started making a documentary. I had found this old video of me that I took of myself in 2014 or 15 when I was in that apartment in Fall River. Just drunk out of my mind. I was probably on drugs, and I'm just kind of walking through the apartment, and then I look at myself in the mirror in the bathroom, and I'm just calling myself like an ugly man. And I have no idea why I took that video. I didn't know I had that video. It was stored like on my Amazon Photos account or something. I was like, whoa. And I was like, this would be crazy as like the opening to like a thing, because we talk about imposter syndrome earlier and everything, but like, I know I've changed my life in a significant manner. And like, I think that could help other people. So I started working on this documentary, and I think I had posted something on the site on somewhere on the web to try to find some help. And a Filipino filmmaker who currently lives in France, Carlo Manatad, took some interest, and we had some conversations, and I started working with him on the project, and he brought his editor in, Mikey De La Cruz, and we just did the whole thing. I recorded some footage myself, and the whole setup was for me to qualify for Boston at the Atlantic City Marathon in October last year. And mind you, like I said, middle of last year, I had to have a surgery. I was starting to have knee problems, and like I kind of knew it wasn't going to happen. But all of this was part of the filming journey. And they came out to the States. They came with me to New Jersey, and we filmed there. And they came back to Rhode Island with me and did some more. And I almost think it works out better that I didn't qualify. It's kind of cool in hindsight. But I sort of look at some of that and I go, geez, I'm not in my best shape there, and like. But it's real. It's a piece that exists from like just how things went last year, And they're finishing that up now. They're doing the sound editing, and actually they told me it should be done by the end of this weekend.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm pretty excited about that. So just to tell you where my running journey is now. Still haven't qualified for Boston. I keep setting all sorts of different running goals. And I've got my knee rehab pretty well now. I've started working out with a personal trainer this year. And that's been pretty great. I got back into some yoga, and I've been really focusing a lot on stretching and flexibility. And I know that those setbacks I had last year, I needed to have, and I just need to build back up again. And I'm going to surpass where I was at. And it takes time. And it's never on my timeline, and I just need to put in the work. I just need to do the work, man. And then you and I started talking, and we got it in our. Well, you're the one who brought it up about I'm going to run across Indiana.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll do that with you. And I was like, well, why don't we try to run across Rhode Island as a warm up? And you came out here last month, and let me just set the scene here. We could have run across Rhode Island easily if we had gone, started just like at the end of Massachusetts and gone to Connecticut. But I set out like a whole ambitious thing where we were going to leave from my house, which I'm right on the Massachusetts Rhode Island border. So it's like we leave from there, but then we have to go back. If people look at the map from where I live, you have to go back into Massachusetts, through a bunch of Massachusetts, back into Rhode Island to get to the route I wanted to go to take us to Connecticut. And I wanted to take Joe all along the water, along the beaches and everything. And it was going to come out to close to 90 miles in the end. And we just had some physical difficulties. But we did 50 miles. And that was the first time I had ever done 50 miles. And so, and we're revisiting that next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to do it.
Yeah. So real quick, back to the documentary thing. So tell everybody, like, when you think that'll be out, and like the name, and like Doug, it's powerful. Like, I've watched it now twice.
Thanks, Joe.
I watched it twice. And I think I've shared this with you before. It's weird because I've had that exact same moment. The scene you're talking about, I wish people could see this first, but when you see it, you'll understand. I had that exact same moment that you had, like looking in the mirror. So I know that this document is going to help somebody. There's no way it's not going to. You're gonna qualify for Boston, and it's just going to make the setbacks. Just that, like you said, anytime I have a setback and then I complete something, I'm always I'm always like thankful for that setback. And like you said, it's never going to be on our time. So that what you said, you hit the nail on the head. So just tell everybody, about when that project will come out and like where they'll be able to find it. And
sure. Yeah. Here's a great answer for you. I don't know.
Nice.
I have a tendency to just sort of create things. This was just a really deeply personal project that I wanted to make that sort of spiraled out of control and became a lot more professional than I ever expected it to.
I love that.
and it cost some money to get done. And I have no clear plan on where this goes next. I'm just happy I created it.
I love that.
Oddly enough, the working title and the ending title. Well, what was the working title for it? Hang on, I have it on my vision board over here somewhere. I think I forget what the working title was. It was. Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say it's I Got to Get Serious About Life was originally the title.
Nice.
But then the director wanted to call it Beyond the Finish Line. And that's what we ended up going with. So
that's right. I love that. That's cool.
Yeah. And I swear that came up before your podcast. I didn't steal it, I swear. And it's like a common phrase anyway. So.
Oh man, I almost love it that you don't have like a clear like when it's coming, where it's gonna like. It's almost what makes me appreciate you saying that is like it's not that you wanted to create it, it's that you had to create this thing. Like you were so drawn to it. That makes total sense to me. I actually kind of operate the same way. It's like, I just like, I have to make this thing. Like, I don't know what the finish line is going to look like or what the end result's going to be. So it's certainly something that I understand.
Yeah.
So that might be why we get along so well.
Yeah, man. That's all of my art projects. They just happen, and it comes in waves. There'll be a year or two where there's like not a creative thing going on. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this. Like that's how I made my sunrise book, and then the daily quote book. It just like happens, and then I just like do it.
God.
And even like this documentary, it was tumultuous. I think I quit making it like 2 or 3 times, and the director was like, oh, like think about it again, like we're so close. And like but that's life, man.
I do that with writing, and when I never wake up and go out to my wood shop and be like, I'm gonna make a bowl or like a lidded vase or an urn or whatever weird thing I decide to make. But it's just like, I have no choice, I have to make this now. And sometimes it doesn't matter what else I need to get done. I'm just like, I have to do this now. Yeah, and it's the same, like writing, I'll have like a thought in my head. Then the next thing I know, it's like, I have to sit down and bang out 1,000 words before I do absolutely anything else. And then I won't write again for 2 months. Like, I don't know why I can't, I don't know why I can't like bottle that and somehow like ration that creativity. I just never figured out how to like put a pin in why I operate that way. So it makes me happy that I'm not alone with that.
No, I'm like the same. That's how all those like blog posts I've been doing happen. Like, I'll get the idea, and then it's like I have to finish it that night. It just like comes out. Yeah, man, I get it. I totally get it.
I've been on a run on my phone and just like opened up WordPress and like boom, 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 boom. Like, I know I have places to be, but I don't care. I'm gonna like. So you touched on a goal of something we did, something we attempted. So we attempted to run across Rhode Island, and we got almost there. We got 50 miles. It's a PR for Doug. That was huge to me. It was cool to get to share that with Doug. So that was a huge deal. And my takeaway, you probably agree with that. That's the funnest thing I've done. That's the funnest running thing I've done. That was funner than any ultra I've done. It was just, by the way, we did it unsupported too. I need to add that to this.
Yeah.
So we
Carrying heavy
our own
packs.
aid, carrying the heaviest. Man, like we got about 10 miles, 20 miles into that. And like these packs are just like 3 times heavier than they should be. But 50 miles unsupported through Rhode Island is nothing to like scoff at.
I never get blisters, and like those were the worst blisters I've ever gotten on my feet. And like they just finished healing like this week. Like the little flaps of skin on the bottom have finally like come off, and like,
oh wow,
dude, those were crazy.
Yeah, that was. I tell you this though, like we wanted it to, but it went the way it did. See a new place. I think I want to make it a point to see a new place that same way. Because, otherwise you would just be driving over those bridges. You would just be staring through a windshield, right? You wouldn't be paying attention to your surroundings. And I feel like I got like the coolest, maybe the most unique way to experience like, Providence and like all these cool little towns that we ran through, and like little parks and like the bike trail. Some of the there was a couple of bridges that we ran across that I was like, but it was cool. We even had a couple people stop that were watching us on the tracker and talk. Some friends of Doug's, so that was
that was awesome.
Jay from Recovery Roadrunners stopped.
Yep.
That was so cool.
Yeah. I just saw Jay today. I love that guy.
Cool.
Yeah. But no, you're so right. And I've lived here for my whole life, and I saw everything with new eyes. Like once we got to the bike path, and we weren't worried about cars so much, man, going through those towns and then that lead up going into Providence. I'm not a big city guy, like I'll go and like I enjoy, obviously cities are great, the theater and restaurants and everything. But like the view when we hit that bike path coming up with the river on the side and the city lit up, and we had there's so many bridges you have to go over on Rhode Island. We had to go over that bridge to get into Providence.
Yeah.
Dude, my mind was like blown. I was like, it was an experience, man. And we were just chatting the whole time. And it was the first time we met in real life, which it was fantastic. Man, I can't wait until we do Indiana. You got me. My running schedule now, man. Like I'm. This week was recovery from I did the spring Newport Marathon this past weekend. So, but now you have me doing back-to-back long runs and like back-to-back long runs, because we're gonna have to string together like some crazy days, man.
Yeah. I really gotta dial it up some. I'm trying to get over an influx of things happening, but I have a 100-miler coming up next month, and then I'm going to start getting used to some road mile. I'm going to train pack more too. Man, I did not train with a pack nearly enough for Rhode Island. So I anticipate we'll get, so I guess to share that, me and Doug also plan on running across Indiana. We're going to try to take a few days to get this one done though. So we're going to try that in August, and same thing. Doug is using this as a mode to raise money for Recovery Roadrunners. And this is a group, like I had mentioned in the introduction. It's a group that means the world to me and Doug. They're a nonprofit organization. They help runners in recovery. They do race entry, shoes. They're funding a run club now in San Luis Obispo.
Oh, yeah, the Kids Run Club.
The Kids Run Club.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And Amber is the founder of that, and Doug's a big part of vice president now. And it's just an organization that's meant a lot to me, and that's what brought me and Doug together. So that's kind of what we're going to do with this run across Indiana. And our plan is to start somewhere north of Terre Haute. I can't remember the name of the town. And I really, really, if I can make this route work, end the run in Fort Recovery, Ohio. To me, it seems like some kind of divine sign that this route will end in Fort Recovery, Ohio. And we're wanting to do it for Recovery. And I'm trying to get us some crew too, Doug, so we don't have to carry so much aid. Oh man, that was respect.
Yeah, and I overpacked too. Like we didn't need to bring anywhere near that much. But you learn. I mean, I'm learning. I got so much to learn.
We still kind of winging it. We really, I mean, we kind of just made that decision on a whim. So, and we still got 50 miles. So, yeah, to me, that is still a win.
Oh, totally. Sure. Yeah.
So if you give everybody kind of like your take, like tell everybody about Recovery Roadrunners too. Maybe give them like a rundown of like what the future is and all that too.
Sure.
I've had Amber on the podcast too. She was a previous guest.
She was, she was a great guest. Yeah, and I'm so excited for her now doing the run club. It's at her kid's school, and she just posted some stuff about that recently. And that was, I think, the grant from McDonald's that made that one go. It's for our fundraiser. We're going to give some of the donations directly to just some different, rehabs, sober houses. So if anyone has places that have helped them out, let us know, because we want to give back to places that have helped us. And I've posted about that in Recovery Roadrunners recently. And we've got some exciting stuff coming up, because I saw the virtual race that you guys all put on, and I am in the process of figuring that out to set something up like that up for Recovery Roadrunners, and to work with RTB Awards to create some special custom awards that we'll give to the winners, which is going to be pretty cool. And then also the sobriety token that I showed there. We want to work with you on some batches of those. And we're trying to build out a network of run clubs nationally, or heck, worldwide, I guess, if possible. You say that and it sounds like such an awesome, cool thing. Like, we've got one right now, and that's the one that I set up, that's starting in May. So, but all big ideas start small. And Absolutely. We've got like some documents together that are just suggestions on what these run clubs are. And it's a combination of sobriety meeting and run club, where you get together beforehand, and, you can have a speaker, or you can just do some chit chatting, do your running, break off into groups. And I just think it'd be something that'd be really good for people, as a supplement to whatever other recovery program you're working, or if none of those speak to you, maybe this is the thing. Again, we've just got some guidelines and suggestions, but people can do whatever they want with it. So if anyone's interested in starting one of those, please reach out. We've got a directory on the website that we can add the run club to. And I hope a year from now we have this conversation, and, maybe we can say we've got, a dozen of them or something like that. And that'll be really, really special. And that's one of the ways that I know I want to give back is helping other people. And what a better way than through the things that have helped me. Sobriety and running, they go hand in hand for me. I don't think I could have one without the other right now. So yeah, that's where we're at with all that.
Heck yeah. So over the weekend you ran a marathon before. Yeah. So before that, so what do you have coming up? Tell everybody what you have coming up too. I know you have something outside of Indiana. You have a pretty cool timed event coming up.
Oh yeah. All sorts of fun. Like, and let me tell you, I have settled into just having so much fun with running this year. I've been working really hard to separate myself from expectations. Like, I still have goals going into things, and I really executed that successfully at the Spring Newport Marathon. I went in with a strategy goal instead of a time goal, because I know I can run a heck of a lot faster than I did. But I just went out at a pace that I was like, whatever. And I wanted to try to run a negative split. And I did. And the race felt totally different than any other marathon I've ever run, because I always start out way too strong and I bomb out by like mile 15, 16. And then like, if you look, you'll see I start out like, 7:40 pace. And then you look at mile like 16 and it's like 10:30, 11, 12, and this one I was like pretty consistent throughout. And I ran a 2:16 first half and a 2:13 second half. And I had a lot more in the tank, And this just goes to like the progression of things. Like I ran this one faster than that first marathon I did, and this one was like a jog for me. It was awesome. I freaking love running. And yeah, so other things coming up. I have all other kinds of competing priorities. I've got some 5Ks planned for this year, and I'm really confident that I'll be able to break a 20-minute 5K this year. I came close last year, and I'm building up and doing the speed work to get back there. I've got 50K, the Watuppa trail races coming up on, I believe it's May 10th or 11th. And that's a great local trail race pretty close to my house. It's a 10K loop you do 5 times. I entered it last year around when I was starting to have some of the umbilical hernia problems, and I had just run a marathon the week before. So I took a DNF at 30K. So I'm finishing it this year. I've got the Rhode Island half marathon coming up. This is a new one. I just signed up for the Philadelphia Marathon in November, and that one I'm going to push myself at. I talked to my sister-in-law, Megan, when we were up in Boston, and she's going to run that one too. So this will be the first race that I like get to do with her, which I'm not going to be able to keep up with her, but it's going to be really cool. And yeah, you and I are running across Indiana, and oh yeah, I was able to successfully get into the Anchor Down Ultra, which is another local ultra marathon here. It'll be my first 24-hour event. It's a 2.45 mile loop at this beautiful state park, Colt State Park, in Bristol, Rhode Island, which is a place that's like super special to me. My Meme and Pepe used to take me there when I was a kid. I used to fly kites there, and like I just have such fond memories of this place, and I can't wait to go there and run for 24 hours, or as best I can. I mean, we'll see what happens. So yeah, a lot of the things that I've been doing, I've been trying to support that, like the back-to-back long runs, and you and I doing that 50, that gave me so much confidence. Like, I forget how long we were out there. I think our moving time was like 14 hours, but we were out there longer because we stopped off at that office and we slept and everything. And like, we went through the whole night. It gave me so much confidence that like, I can do this 24-hour race. So I'm really psyched on that. Yeah. And there's some other, I have a problem signing up for things. Like I really got to chill out on that. But those are the major ones. Yeah.
I'll be rooting for you at the 24-hour, and obviously we'll see each other again before that. But yeah, that Rhode Island trip, man, that changed. I learned a lot of things on that. So yeah, I'm really excited for this next one. It's an even bigger goal. But
I know
we learned a lot of good, awesome, but hard lessons trying to run across Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, right on, Doug. Real quick. What's in your earbuds right now? What are you listening to?
Oh boy,
I had to ask a music question.
No,
not Uptown Girl.
No. We listened to that for 20 hours straight on the Rhode Island run. What was I listening to recently? Well, at the Newport Marathon, I'll give you a shout out. I listened to the What's in Your Earbuds playlist on Spotify. Cool. Yeah. And that was really cool. And there was some Spanish song that came on there. I was around mile 9, and this was the first time I've had like a real emotional experience when I was running, but I was going at like a nice pace, and, we're down by the ocean, and like, I felt tears coming up, man. I wish I would have let them come out. But yeah, as far as music goes right now, I probably have been listening to the new Redman album, Muddy Waters 2, probably more than I should. It's a great album. I'll
add some songs to that.
Yeah, man. And I'm stuck in the 90s, like perpetually, as far as music goes. I do listen to some new stuff. There's a great album, LSD. It's this guy Labyrinth, the musician Sia and Diplo. They came out with this album a number of years ago, and my wife and I listen to that all the time. That's like our traveling music. That's a special album. We've been listening to that a lot lately. And yeah, probably those are the ones that come to mind.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'll add some of that to the list, and that's the first time that someone's answered "What's in Your Earbuds" is the "What's in Your Earbuds" playlist. So that makes me really happy.
I was excited. It's over 24 hours now because the joke I made was I'm going to listen to that during the Anchor Down Ultra, and now I can.
Now we're there.
Yeah.
Well, cool, Doug. Man, I never don't enjoy our talks, and it's been awesome having you on. Finally on my podcast. We're gonna have to do another podcast after Indiana. Yeah. So let's make that. Let's get that on the books. We'll recap Indiana. But man, it's been an honor getting to know you. It's an honor to call you my friend. And I can't wait till we get to meet up again over on this side of the country, kind of middle of the country. So I'm looking forward to sharing more miles with you and getting the Triple R podcast going back up. I always love our talks, man. And thank you so much for coming on, Doug. And thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Like I said, we can't do this without you. So, share the pod, give us a 5-star. It makes this possible, and check out Doug. You won't regret giving him a follow. He's someone I look up to a lot in my own running and spiritual and sobriety journey. So thank you again, Doug, for coming on.
Likewise, Joe, the respect is mutual, man.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to go beyond the finish line again next time.